Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joined with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Not too bad. Things are getting busy. Trying to get in that Christmas spirit over here, trying to get all these things done, looking at what I have left to do leading up to Christmas, the big day there, and oh boy, does it get busy. so
Yeah.
so it's nice to take an hour out of my week to do this show with you as always. But yeah, looking forward to talking about some comics here today. So I just did want to mention once again our last episode of the year that we'll be covering new comics is going to be for the week of the new releases for December 20th. Now it'll come out sometime after the 20th, most likely before Christmas. But I did just want to mention that that is the last week that we're going to be talking about comics. The week of the 27th, we'll be talking about along with the week of January 3rd in the new year. So those 2 weeks we kind of lump together. But instead of the week of the 27th, new releases that week, guys, you'll be treated to an episode of as long as we can get it done in time here is going to be our year-end kind of awards for best things that we've read this year. We'll give out a bunch of different awards, highlight some books that we really enjoyed reading this year and some things we didn't really enjoy reading this year. And yeah, so definitely make sure to check that out. That's going to be a fun show. And we'll go over certain categories, kind of favorite artist, favorite superhero book, this kind of stuff. So definitely check that out. If you guys want to check out what our last year's show was like, it's in the feed here in our playlist. So definitely go check that out. It'll be probably between episodes like 50 around there. It'll be somewhere around there because the amount of episodes we do in a year's time. So all right, today here we're going to be talking about though the week of December 6th, 2023 for new comic book releases, the things that we've read. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. As always, this is a weekly comic book review show. Make sure to check out our playlist, over 100 episodes and counting, and all kinds of different content here on the channel. Like for instance, we have a show called Cracking Packs with the Chat. Chris was recently on that. We opened up some hockey cards that's kind of more suited towards our card hobby, stuff that we're into for cards, collectible cards and stuff like that. And then, we sometimes talk about graphic novels, collected editions of comic books as well on the channel. Chris was on it a little while ago. We talked about some Walking Dead that he read for the first time and I had revisited. And we also just had this past week, actually coming up 2 days after this release of this episode. Definitely go back and check out the feed, guys. There'll be a new episode dropping with me and Peter. Peter returning to Trade Talk. We're going to be talking about the new Ninja Turtles comic book, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, which is the sequel book to the original Last Ronin, which we also talked about on Trade Talk like a year ago. So definitely go check those out, guys. All kinds of different stuff here on the channel. And spoiler warning, we are going to spoil what happens in some of these books here today that we talk about. So make sure to, be forewarned. You may want to read your stuff and then come back and check it out if you're worried about that. All right, Chris,
All right, let's crack some beers and let's talk comics.
let's talk some comics. All right. Yeah, I got the Stella today when I was at the liquor store. I had to get that free glass this Christmas giveaway, Buy a 6-pack, you get a nice Stella glass. So I was like, all right, sign me
Go.
up. All right. First up on the docket here today, we got Transformers number 3, which Chris, you're gonna be disappointed because there's two books that I didn't get time to prep the art on, and this is one of them. I hate to fucking not show the glorious art in this book. This is a DWJ book, of course, Daniel Warren Johnson. Love his stuff. Guys, check out his artwork if you have yet to see this book or pick up this book. We've been big fans of it so far because I hate that I don't have the art prep for this. I just wanted to say that. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, it's too bad the art isn't there because it's great art inside there, and like I think we talked about before, the art really suits the action in the story here. And I guess they're still kind of moving on. Yeah, there. See what's happening at Optimus Prime, fighting, and I guess the Wiki father is with that girl there, and they're trying to save. I guess Laserbeak is out after him. But like just the action's moving along, and I think it's decent. I was expecting more out of this one, but it's still a great comic.
This is a great scene though, man. Like when he drove into Buddy there, like
Yeah,
which one not Starscream, which one was that? The guy who can phase in and out.
yeah. That teleport punch is new to me. I didn't know about that. I thought that was pretty cool.
I didn't know about that either. Yeah, because that wasn't Starscream, right? Or
No,
was
it was one of the other, like not Thundercracker, but I don't know, there's Skywarp or something, or
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I was looking Skywarp. Yeah, you're right. That is Skywarp. I didn't know about that move either. That was I don't know if he just made that up or what, but I
yeah,
mean it's listen, I think the best part about this issue amidst all the action and great art and everything else going on and kind of they're in the midst of it now with the oh man, this fucking scene too when he ripped him apart. That was
yeah.
fucking nuts. Like this is a pretty fucking violent Transformers comic, man.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I mean that's
you
what's
gotta
great
enjoy
about
that.
it.
Well,
That's
he
what's great
takes off
about
his
it.
arm and starts beating up Skywarp.
Yeah. But that's the thing. They, I mean, they're throwing down in this. I mean, he's busting
Yeah,
out wrestling moves. This is like Optimus unhinged. Like he's just like fed up. Like this is like this is after years of being at war with one another, right? And now like with the humans in the mix and the army, the Joes. I guess that guy used to be. I think there's going to be a connection. Obviously, we've seen G.I. Joes in the last issue where we saw Duke fly overhead and
yeah.
attack them. So I guess that's who they're referring to in terms of their military that are in this issue that all start attacking them. But like, the other thing that I thought was interesting too about this issue, obviously, is the emotional gut punch that happened where our main character that we've been following gets shot. The kid gets shot in the midst of the line of fire with the humans retaliating against what they think are all the same robots, right? Which obviously they don't know that Optimus is on their side, and they all start shooting at him because he's fighting the Decepticons and the Autobots are all in the mix there too, or at least he is. And yeah, he gets shot and then he has like a flashback of when he squashed the fucking elk the deer the last the deer the last issue. And yeah, that was a great part for me. Like he just lost his shit there because of that, because he seen how fragile life is on this planet. And yeah, like you said, he just fucking goes to town. He starts like ripping people in half. It's an awesome fucking scene. Despite all that, like you said, you thought maybe you were expecting a bit more. I thought in the second half of this issue with those moments, I thought that they really rose to the occasion for me. Like the way they left it off too. Like he rolls up at the end and he's like, "I'm gonna try to save him," and he's all fucked up. Like Optimus is looking rough at the end. Like when he rolls up, like and he's like he transforms into the truck. And I gotta appreciate too him trying to put like the actual like the sound of the sound effects. Like you can see him like he draws in a lot of his sound effects, like the Daniel Ward Johnson. And yeah, he put here or something like he's trying to like I don't know, like he's trying to like I don't know, like he's trying to draw them in this panel over here.
Yeah.
And I kind of like while reading it, I'm just like, oh, okay, I see what he's trying to do here. I appreciate the effort, but yeah, he looks rough here. He looks rough. Like you could tell, like the backside of him is all like ripped up and shredded after getting to a fight with the Decepticons. I'm loving this comic. I think this is a great issue still nonetheless. I'm sorry to hear you have super high expectations, I know, for this book. Of course, it's been great.
Well,
right?
I'm not a big fan of those wikis there, and not a fan of all those the cartoons and the movies didn't do them any favors either. So if they get wiped out, I'm good with that too.
Which ones are those?
What's Spike and his dad? That's a kid that gets shot, and the father that's there in the beginning.
Oh, okay. Are they from the cartoon?
They're from the cartoon, and they were used in the movies as well, like as like different characters. But like I think in the movies, Shia LaBeouf was the wiki. So
right. Yeah, you got to remember my exposure to Transformers for the most part is through the films as well as through Beast Wars. I never really I missed the window of Transformers. So
yeah, I think a lot of this is from the cartoon, really, like the main characters and all that stuff. So that's good for me. I enjoy that part.
Oh, you're saying you're not a fan of the human element of this? You'd rather just see all the robots?
Well, I'm not a fan of the wikis. They can get blown away. I'm okay with that.
And that's the main character, the kid.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, weren't a fan of them on the cartoon.
Yeah, they're just plot devices. Wipe them
Got
out.
in the get in the way, right? Okay, I hear
Yeah.
you. But I don't know, plot devices used well. I thought, like I said, seeing this kid get taken out, I was kind of like, holy shit, right? But yeah, if you don't like them, that's all good too. What'd you give this out of 5?
I give it a 4 though, no problem.
I give it a 4.25 this issue. All right, next up, Birds of Prey number 4. Got my issue right here. You're off this,
Yeah.
Chris?
No, I didn't get my DC. The comics didn't come in, so I had to read all my DC online.
Okay,
I
that's all right.
read it.
I was about to say, I hope you didn't drop this because
No, no,
I
I
this is a hell of an issue, in my opinion. This issue, a
yeah,
lot of action. But go
yeah.
ahead.
And then there's like the Birds of Prey are battling Wonder Woman there, and yeah, this some battling going on in this issue here, from what I remember. I thought it was pretty good stuff, and this is one of the series that have surprised me, and I keep on looking forward to the next issues. I forget what the big takeaway was from this one, but they do have a lot of throwdowns between either all the Amazons and Big Barda. There's a lot of this backbreaking going on too. I don't know if you noticed in this comics. There's one in the Transformers. There's one scene where Optimus Prime has got Skywarp over his head. I think Barda's up here. Wonder Woman's lifting her up over her head, and I think in Batman there's a scene like that as well. We can talk about that later.
Well,
But yeah,
I was about to say the only place where it is warranted as like sort of a callback to fucking when Bane broke Batman's back is
yeah,
Batman. They're
yeah, I didn't
they're
see that for a while. Now I see the three issues here.
this week. Yeah, I know.
But other than that, yeah, I thought it was a great issue. What do you think of it?
Oh yeah, this was fantastic. I'm just this is like yeah, this was the action issue. This one, same thing. Like I think like similar to Transformers, we've been building up this story the first couple of issues, and this one just all balls to the wall of kind of like action pack. I love the fact that they still gave respect to the strength and they not make Wonder Woman look stupid despite her kind of getting, having trouble against the Birds of Prey. But like that's what I liked about that too. Like Barda is a new gods, like she a new
Yeah,
god person. Like she should be able to tussle with the likes of Wonder Woman, and she really fucking brought it to her in this issue. Like she knocked the shit out of her. And if it wasn't for maybe kind of getting too full of herself, maybe talking a little bit too much shit at one point, like she kind of got her back. But it was not easy for either of them during that fight, which I thought was great. Like I like a good back and forth. And it was believable because sometimes in these comics you see people fight each other, and even though these are fictional characters, you're like, this person would never fucking win a fight
yeah,
against this person, right? Like this was believable. And like even like Cassandra Cain, Batgirl there, that was awesome. She busted out some sick moves on her too, some stealthy stuff that went down where she was able to disable her for a moment. And yeah, I'm just loving this. I loved all the action panels. I loved how the layout of them. The only thing that continues to still bug me with this comic, or I think if you read it online, and I had this similar issue with Harley, is some of the muted coloring. I feel like it's very like pastelish, like looking like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like very light coloring. Now I guess that's by design, but I think that it doesn't stand out as great on the newsprint. I feel like when you're reading it out of the issue.
yeah,
But that's just a small nitpick because I actually really like the art and the coloring is not bad. It's a little different, I think, than most things out there right now. But yeah, you got scenes like this. This is a great issue. I really love this book. And this was a well-deserved kind of built up kind of fight here. And by the end of it, like you said, they kind of got imprisoned. That was the thing too. They fought well, and they kind of did get the girl that they were coming for, Black Canary's sister there. And but by the end of it, they kind of stuck around too long and got ambushed, and they got put basically put in prison, and they escape. But then they find out there's this evil entity on the island, some sort of thing that yeah, I guess that was like stirring around on the island that one person was getting messages from at some point, or that was with them as part of the team. Like it seems like they could feel their presence. And then
yeah,
whatever this thing is on Themyscira is basically let loose there at the end, and it looks like it's up to the Birds of Prey to basically take them out because Wonder Woman loses her shit because she finds out that this thing is this thing is there amidst the battle with the birds of prey, right? Like she's like, what the hell's going on? And they find out like one of their own, I guess, was aware, like one of the Amazons was aware and was working in cahoots with this creature or whatever the hell it is that's living on the island right now, or is there at the moment. So I guess we're going to see that come to fruition next issue. We're going to see them kind of battle this thing. So yeah, I think it's a great book, and every time it comes out, I very much look forward to it. And 4 issues in, I think Kelly Thompson has a great handle for the characterizations of these characters.
Yeah, it's definitely a story-driven book, you know.
Yeah, and this is her first DC gig. You know what I mean? Like, so good for her. Yeah, she's been at Marvel as long as I've known. I don't think she's ever written any DC superhero books. So for her to have a great handle on these characters, I think she's knocking it out of the park. Like I never even read a Birds of Prey book. Like I feel like, other than some of the older Chuck Dixon stuff from like the 90s, I've never really checked out a Birds of Prey book in more recent times because I've always heard they're not great. But I'm glad I took a shot with this one. It's been very good. What'd you give this?
Yeah, I give this a 4 too. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I gotta give this like maybe even a 4.5 this week. This was strong for me. All right, Chris, Alpha Flight number 5.
Well, let's see. Got my issue here somewhere. But I guess, what's been going on in the Alpha Flight is, the Guardian and his team, they've been kind of working in cahoots with the government. Well, not in cahoots, but working for the government, but secretly teaming up with, I guess, other mutants to try and get the mutants safe. And like they have a mutant safe house in Manitoba. And at the end of the last issue, is the Box Sentinels had found the mutant safe house, and they're about to attack. And all the other Alpha Flight team members are all trying to race back there to put up a fight, let's say. So the battle goes down. I think a few people kind of get injured. And then Guardian has to kind of reveal that he is helping out with the Alpha, that he is helping the Alpha Flight team, and he's not really part of the government. So some shit goes down with that. And his wife Heather I forget what her name is in this, but I think she almost has to sacrifice herself at the end to try and save all the mutants to get them to that Alpha Flight space station that they have floating out there too. This is a lot of new stuff for me, but it's still, it was a decent story. I don't think it was the strongest of this Fall of X stuff. If you didn't read this, it's not really affecting any of the Fall of X stuff. I think I just like it because it deals with some Canadian stuff, and they're fighting out of Toronto and all that stuff. So it's always kind of fun to read that bit. Did you read this or no?
I did. Yeah, I finished this out. Yeah, it was all right. I don't think it was bad, but like you just said, I think the main takeaway for me by the end of this was like this had little to no impact on the ongoing kind of events of the X stuff right now, unfortunately. At the end here, they kind of had like this last page issue after like it seemed that they were found out that they were not really working alongside as closely with the government as they had hoped. And it seems like at the end here, moving forward, who knows what their plans are, seems like, you know what I mean? Along with all
like they're an outlaw team now or something.
Yeah. So like, cause now it looks like the government was working with, what do you call it? The team that they're against right now. What is their name? What the fuck? Who the X-Men? They're on all the books. What are the name? Orchis. It looks like they're kind of they're working with them. It seems like as well the government. So
yeah,
I feel like now Orchis, which was already in existence prior to this storyline, obviously with the Krakoa era, now is like the main thing is like they're the representation of the humans that hate on mutants. Essentially, it seems like like that's like. Instead of just, it seems like regular, because, in X-Men, it was always the government that was hating on mutants, or it was like different, teams of people that kind of rose up and banded together that fucking go against the mutants. But now it's like a whole fucking organization, essentially, that's just, trying to go up against
trying to sway the public opinion of all the mutants too.
Which the only confusing thing about that is that while they're doing that, they also have some mutants working for them, right? So which is like, that's kind of interesting, and not that you can't have people hating on their own kind, as we see in the world, of course, like that happens, right? But it's just interesting to see that they're willing to work alongside some of these mutants if it's in their favor to take out the mutants, right? But
Yeah.
it's only obviously the mutants that are actually just trying to help people, right? But but in the Krakoa age, there was some power play type shit that they did pull on the Earth, on in the sense that, like, hey, we have all these, like, these medicines that you can't have. Hey, we've solved death. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, that's what the Krakoa age stuff has actually worked for me in that sense. Like, they have a reason to hate on the mutants now because they are they are a powerful force not to reckon with, and they fucking, they said as much, right? There was a time where they're just like, yeah, Magneto was just like, yeah, don't fuck with us anymore because look how powerful we are now,
Yeah.
right? So I've enjoyed all this X-Men stuff. I think this has been a good era of the X-Men stuff. I may not have read every book or enjoyed everything. But the Alpha Flight, like I said, it's the Canadian book, so we had to read it and rate it. So what'd you give this out of 5?
I'll give it a 3.75 though.
Oh, 3.25 for me. No, all respect to Alpha Flight, but yeah, no.
I do like Guardian though.
I know.
That Guardian and Hedra, it's a sad story. Didn't you have to like sacrifice that she's dead at the end of that or what? I don't know.
Yeah. But let's hope they pop up somewhere else, right? This is the
Yeah, I
thing with
hope in a
Alpha
couple of
Flight.
years they have another. I'll take another 5-issue series. If more as an Alpha Flight adventure, not so much whatever they're up to in this one. But I'd follow them along. They're always fun to watch.
Yeah. Chris, next up, Titans Beast World, Waller Rising #1, which was the first of 2 tie-ins, I guess, of the Beast World stuff that came out this week.
Yeah, I just kind of read these ones on a whim, but not really following them, and I didn't really have much to say about either of these stories. There's nothing spectacular going on. They weren't like life changing to events that explain what's happening in Beast World, and that's pretty much I'm glad. Like I said, I'm just glad I'm not buying into this one. So I don't know much really to say. I don't even remember what happened or how Amanda Waller's in there and anything. So unfortunately, I don't even know if it's worth rating. I'd give it like a 3.25 or something like that for both of them. For this one, and I didn't even know what the other one was. Like they're almost like independent titles, so they're not really tied into anything. So
I think the other one, it has to do with the Metropolis and all the Superman people. Like, it seems like Beast World tour Metropolis. So I'll just show off a little bit of the art from that for anybody interested.
yeah.
But yeah, there you have it. Not something I guess you're gonna be revisiting. Are these one shots or are these miniseries? I don't know.
I don't know either. Like I think there might be like 3-issue series, but even just the names of them, like it's whatever Beast World Metropolis tour or whatever. It's if they're trying to make this sort of some epic event, these titles kind of are a little lighthearted for really what's going on there. The city's on fire and burning down, and yeah. Oh yeah, Jimmy Olsen turns into a turtle or something. Yeah.
Oh man.
I know they're kicking in some of this Lazarus stuff in there, and I know they're talking about that freaking the night terrors in there somehow. Yeah, it's just not good.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. All right. Next up, we're getting into the holiday book block here, guys. So get ready for these. These are all kind of Christmas related books. The next few of them, obviously, around the certain holidays around the year, these comic book companies do try to put out certain books, obviously, in relation to the holidays. So this is a one shot again from R.L. Stine of Goosebumps fame. This is Stuff of Nightmares Sleigh Ride #1, a one-shot story. And I read another one a couple of months ago, if you remember. I think they came out with one around Halloween as well that I talked about on this show.
Yeah.
And you know what? I didn't end up pre-ordering this one, but I seen it at the shop. And I was like, okay, yeah, why not? I'll try to talk about a couple more Christmas-related books on the show this week. And I know Christine was asking about this because she had liked the last one, the being a fan of Goosebumps and stuff. They are the last R.L. Stine Stuff of Nightmares one, which is basically like his horror anthology. type series, it seems like, where he has like a horror host kind of like introducing these tales. But yeah, you know what, this was actually really fucking good. I'm glad I read this. It's great Francavilla cover here. There's a lot of actually really great covers, but I ended up picking up this one. I'm not familiar with the artist in here. This is who is this? PS Bach. I don't know. I've never heard of this artist, but the art wasn't bad. But yeah, this is basically a story about a man who is a mall a mall Santa who basically loses it and goes on a killing spree. Which, you know what? This is something I think that could actually happen. So, and I know that there's been horror movies dedicated to like Christmas themed events and Christmas killer Santas and stuff like that. So this felt right, this one shot. And I think it was a lot better than the last one, quite frankly, that I talked about on the show. And yeah, it kind of opens up with you seeing him kind of torture some people. And he's like, he's like filming the children as he ties up their parents. He's like, "Oh, children, yeah, look, it's me, Santa. Pretend like, no, not pretend, like, say ho 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 with me." And they're like, "Okay, ho ho ho." He's like, "Yes, yes." He's like filming it all, trying to make it seem like they're happy and having a good time. And then he starts like taping their parents to like a chair. And they're like, "Oh, Santa, you're mean. What are you doing to our parents?" And he like proceeds to kill them. And that's the opening of the book. And then it cuts to the story of basically how this happened. Like the Santa Claus character lost his job at the mall because the mall can't afford a Santa Claus in the mall that year. And he said that, listen, this small mall is actually going to probably go under in the next year anyway. So like, we're going to be start laying off all kinds of people. So like, you're just not something we can afford this year. And I know you've been our Santa for years and years, but it's not going to happen this year. And this obviously pisses him off to no end. He freaks out. He doesn't know how to deal with this news. And he basically proceeds to choke the manager that tells him this of the mall to death, and like leaves him in his office, and ends up leaving. And then he sees like a child in the parking lot as he's leaving the mall, and he creeps the fuck out of her, makes her really uneasy, and like the parents like, ooh, like, get away from that weird man. And kind of and then like later that night, I guess they find the dead manager in the office after this guy killed them. And they have so then the secretary says, yeah, this is his name. He's a guy that is Santa Claus with us for years, and I don't know how this could have happened. And then the cops start looking for him. They go to his address that's on file at the mall. It turns out it's a fake address. He doesn't actually live there. And then, yeah, he basically proceeds to go on a killing spree of sorts. He goes to a bar and he sees a bunch of other Santas at one point. And he convinces them, hey, this is a great time of year. I got screwed over. Why don't we go and rob people of their belongings that don't deserve all these presents and stuff like that? So then he makes, this plan with these guys he met in the bar to go and start robbing people of their gifts. And then while doing this, he ends up killing a bunch of the people when he comes into their home and to steal their stuff. And, like brutal ways, like shoving a Christmas tree through somebody. And he has a sack instead of toys. It's just a bunch of rats. So it was pretty great. It was honestly like really demented and kind of fun. And it's surprisingly dark and adult from somebody who came up with Goosebumps, R.L. Stine. Of course, he's always done more mature stuff as well. So this is definitely in more of that in that vein. But yeah, by the end of it, the cops end up catching him though. But they catch him. It turns out the two guys that he's talked to in the bar that were dressed as Santas, they try to convince, were actually to come steal stuff with him, were undercover cops. So they bust him at the end of this, and he runs off, and he ends up going on top of a roof to try to get away from them, falls in someone's chimney, and right out on an open fire and burns to death. So it's pretty fitting way for him to go out here at the end too. The only nitpick I have about this is that when the cops bust him that were supposed to meet up with him to like rob all this stuff, by that point he already killed two other people at their homes. I was just like, why didn't these guys like follow this guy? They're like, yeah, we'll meet you later tonight. And then he just ends up killing a whole bunch of people, and then they catch him later on. I'm like, wow, you guys are really bad at your job, these fucking cops. Like, why didn't you bust this guy right there and then? They think they're all high and mighty when they're like, we're because they busted on him about to kill a family towards the end of this issue, right? And I'm like, yeah, like you guys missed it. These guys already killed 2 other families, but
They
great
dropped the
job,
ball
yeah.
there a little bit.
Yeah, right. That was the only thing where I'm just like, oh, that's kind of weird. But anyways, I give this a 4 out of 5. It was actually a lot of fun, especially for this time of year. So it was really good. Next up, we got Hellboy Winter Special, the Yule Cat. This one I don't have art for either. Every year they do one of these one-shot Hellboy Winter Specials. And again, this is not something I usually read Hellboy in trade. I don't usually pick up the issues, but these winter specials are always usually pretty good. At least the last couple of years were. And again, I was at the shop and I seen it. I was like, okay, I'll pick this up. Yeah, it's called the Yule Cat. It's basically just a one-shot story written and co-written and drawn by written and drawn by Matt Smith, who's a really great artist, fits into the world of Hellboy with all the other artists that they have. Their similar styles to like Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy. And it's a one-shot story of Hellboy, like all of the Hellboy stories. Very simple. Hellboy's great, but all the stories are very simple. He goes to a town. He finds out like there's this like huge cat creature apparently that's terrorizing the town. And then he gets to the bottom of what's really going on. You know, gets into a fight with whatever, is threatening the town, punches them out. There you go. That's another Hellboy story. That's pretty much every Hellboy story for the most part. So, but well-told story with some good art, but I got to give it a 3.5 basically just for the simplicity of most Hellboy stories. But always a level of quality in Hellboy comics that I find you're never disappointed. They're always anywhere from average to really, really good stories being told with always really, really good art. So I just think as a one shot, there was not really anything else for him to do in this issue other than track down this thing that's like a huge cat creature in their town and take it out. And that's it. Right. So anyways, next up, Chris, I think you also read this one. We got Creepshow Holiday Special #1. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, not too bad. A couple of good stories in there. I think the first one was that little girl that wanted to watch, I guess, the Rudolph show, and then her family sort of making fun of her and kind of spooking her out about all these ghost stories or making up some Christmas stories. And then I guess at the end she turns the tables on him, and I thought it was a pretty good story. It's what I expect out of these Creepshow kind of Twilight Zone stuff where everybody gets their sort of comeuppance at the end. And then the second story, they couldn't pick a better people or a better group of people to hate on. It's these it follows these porch pirates. Mm-hmm. And then even to make them feel worse is they're gouging customers on resale. And then one guy shows up there trying to buy, I think, the toy that they actually stole from him.
Yes.
At a ridiculous markup, and then I guess the way they kind of make themselves feel good is that, oh yeah, everybody gets a refund anyway, so don't worry if we steal things, it's okay. And he's like, yeah, well, I need this toy, but it's she's like, oh, don't worry, you'll get a replacement in the mail. And he goes, oh, it won't be soon enough, and so make them feel even worse. And I guess somebody's stalking them too, because a few of the packages they open, I think it starts with an eyeball, and then there's a message, something about their hands, and it gets kind of just escalates from there. So yeah, I think they're both decent stories, nothing earth-shattering, but good stuff nonetheless.
I really like the second story. Yeah, I agree with you. The second story was my favorite. It's actually one of the best or better stories I've read in these Creepshow issues because I've been buying the actual main miniseries, as you know. But like you said, something that everyone knows exists that can relate to. It actually has happened in my building this year. Like there's notices up in my building because someone actually came into the building and stole people's Amazon delivery stuff outside their doors, right? Yeah, so it's something I think everyone knows is out there, exists, could relate to, and I think it was really well told in that sense. So yeah, I really like first one was okay. I really like the artist Jonathan Wayshak, who I haven't seen his work in quite some time, so I thought the art really fit the Creepshow stuff in the first story. But it makes sense that they had him on the first one where there was a creature and everything like that. Thank you. Compared to the second one where it was more of like a human tale, you know what I mean? So I think that kind of worked out in that sense. But yeah, that second one I thought was the best story in the issue for sure. What'd you give this then?
Yeah, I give it a 3.75. They're good stories to read, fun to read.
Yeah, I agree. 3.75. And next up, we got Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night #1, and that's actually night, not night with a K, like usually with these. I'm trying to see how many fucking books of Batman they can switch the night word on, because there's so many of them. Last Night on Earth, night, yeah,
I know.
Batman,
Is there a Batman the Night's Night?
Batman White Knight, Dark Knights
Yeah.
of Steel. You know what I mean? There's so many of these fucking night play on word type fucking books. But of course, this one you got to have Silent Night, the actual night, Night, right? So, anyways,
Yeah.
not in the Batman sense. But what'd you think of this first issue, which is I think a weekly series throughout the
Yeah,
season?
it looks like it's weekly. I kind of passed on buying this stuff, and I might be regretting it. I thought this first issue was pretty good. You know, it was a fun story in there. With I guess Batman, Robin, Nightwing's in there, and it's revealed that Batman has a relationship with Santa. Santa's some freaking jacked guy from wherever he comes from, and then every time that he's revealed as Santa, like even Nightwing kind of gets starstruck that he knows Santa Claus. They always thought I always thought it's just stories that Batman was telling us, that he knows Santa Claus or whatever they call him here. And yeah, I just thought it was good stuff. The art was great for this, and the story's decent. I think what are they fighting? Some not really vampires, but vampire-like creatures or something like that.
Yeah, some sort of bats. And then Krampus shows up at the end of it. Like there's
Oh
some,
yeah, that's the story that Santa and Krampus have been kind of paired
which
together or something.
Which I really liked this backstory about saying that, like, Santa, as we know him, is not really who he is. He's more of like a Thor-like kind of a Viking, like a Viking from like back in the day who
Yeah, he was like
basically,
one of the gods, and he just got stuck on Earth or something.
yeah, he's like a Viking god who basically got stuck on Earth, so he's playing the part as Santa. That's how the stories began, and I don't think that's anything new. I think there's been variations on that before as well with the Santa Claus thing. There's also a great series Grant Morrison did called Claus, which is basically somewhat sort of similar to like his origin in this, but like, but even when they're kind of telling him this story, and Batman references the fact that he trained him and he actually still uses some of the moves he's taught him to this day. Like he taught him like back in his travels of, like the Batman Year One type period where he's like traveling around prior to going back to Gotham type stuff. So, but then even when he is kind of brought up and they tell him this story about apparently what, where he comes from, he's like, no, those are just tales or whatever. Like he just doesn't even like actually acknowledge it and stuff like that. I like that. Yeah, this was pretty good. Honestly, the art is really good too in this book. Like,
Yeah,
for a Christmas themed mini series, they got some top talent on this book. I gotta say, like you said, has had has had any right to be as good as it was. Actually, it's very strange. Like I kind of wish I got the Zatanna cover. I thought Zatanna had nothing to do with this book, and then she showed up in it. And like you, I was like, oh, why am I gonna get the Zatanna cover? Because there was like a really great Zatanna cover with her and
yeah.
Santa Claus for this book, but I didn't end up getting it. But and then I see her show up in this, and I was like, shit, I should have got that. So yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. It was a lot. Yeah, this is kind of where he talks about how he fought Krampus and stuff like that from his I guess he's from like a different world or something like that, or dimension or something. I forgot. Like they basically say like he got stuck on Earth. Like you said, there's a portal that closed, and now Krampus is basically has been on Earth creeping around this whole time, and now he's gonna have to face off against Krampus, him and Batman. But I love how he comes in on the steed, like he's got that big fucking crossbow and shit. I was like, oh man, look at this, like a Santa Claus. I thought it was gonna be something stupid where it was like, despite me ordering it, where it was just like actual Santa, not warrior Santa. Like that's awesome. Yeah, I'm like, oh okay, I'm in. So what'd you give this?
Yeah, I'll give it a 4. If there wasn't a weekly, I know I got burned on these weeklies so bad so many times. So that's what kind of pulled me off it. But it's a good one.
So I agree with you. I'm also going to give it a 4. But here's the thing, and you might be right on this. This is a 4-issue series, and it's weekly. So this could run out of steam by issue 4, which sometimes it normally we see that it does in these miniseries, right? So we'll see what happens. But
at least it has steam to lose, so that's a good thing.
If they keep up the momentum, though, this is a decent first issue for sure. All right, Chris, Batman 140.
Oh yeah, read this one. I was looking forward to this, and I think this issue delivered. But I got some things. But there's some good stuff in here though too. Like I haven't been big on the Zur-En-Arrh or whatever's going on, and now there's a whole shit ton of them, and Batman's fighting them in his mind. But there are some call-outs in there, especially when he's fighting the Batman from the Tim Burton Batman, and he goes, "Oh, what can I do?" This I don't know. I think he rolls behind him because I can get the jump on you because you can't turn your neck, and he hits him there. I thought that was a good line. And but I love Batman going after the Joker, and that's what kind of put a bee in my bonnet. Let's say is that I'd rather see freaking Batman beat the hell out of the Joker, which he was doing, but all the action was cut with Batman in his own mind fighting himself there, and then he realizes, oh, it's my mind, I have the power, and all that sort of stuff. And there's that call up to Bane we were talking about earlier, where everybody seems to be being held up over everybody's head this week. And that's the third time I've seen that going on. But otherwise, it's a good story. The backup story, I thought it was decent as well. A little history of Vandal Savage, a little idea of what's going on with all the Gotham elite or the rich there. They have their little secret meeting. So that was fun to read too. What do you think of this?
I really enjoyed this still. I know that you've had your problems with this storyline, at least, last issue when they kind of, again, brought up the Zur-En-Arrh stuff, and I know you haven't been a fan of that. I did enjoy seeing George Jimenez or Jorge Jimenez, whatever, kind of be back on this title and being able to draw all these different versions of Batman. I think the key to this is how long is this going to go on? Like, it seems like he's taking care of the issue at the end of this issue, and they set up the that robot guy coming back by the end.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal. I forgot about that.
Fail safe. Yeah, that's right. So if this is the last that we saw of this mind stuff that was going on in this issue, then I'm okay with it. It's just I really don't want like a whole 5-6 issues of that. But so far so good for me. I've been enjoying this kind of story that's been happening here. And yeah, the fact that Failsafe shows back up at the end of this issue, I'm very much looking forward to what happens next now, right? And and to your point about the Joker, we do know a big Joker story is coming up soon. So like I'm okay with what they've been doing with him in this because I know that the focus is going to be stepping away from this, more so just be focused on the Joker for that story, right? So I'm okay with all this. I think this is a really great issue. I actually, I know you were down on it, I think last issue, at least in comparison to me, but I'm really excited to see what happens next. And yeah, the backup story's been decent too with what's his name there?
Vandal Savage.
Vandal Savage. Yeah, it's been all right. So, what'd you give this?
Yeah, I'm giving this a 4. I did like it a lot.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 as well. Next up, The Sacrificers, number 5.
Got my issue here somewhere.
Which is the other issue I didn't prepare the art for, unfortunately, in time.
That's too bad. It's got some.
I know. That's it for I got all the art for the rest of the books. That's the only ones that I didn't get this week was Transformers and that. But yeah, what'd you think?
That's okay too. Just moving along with the story, figuring out what's going on, and some big twists in there. I'm still trying to figure out who's who. Like the pigeon guy that makes the juice. He's not related to he's not the pigeon's father or anything. That's just somebody from the same, I guess, pigeon race.
Well, that's the thing. We didn't actually even know that guy was a pigeon until he takes off his mask in this. But no, that's not the same one. The interesting thing about that too, I think, was that you can tell by like the looks of him when he took off the mask, is that despite him getting these elixirs as well, and apparently the primo shit, you could tell like this guy has lived for a long ass time as well, because there's certain parts of his feathers and stuff that look pretty decrepit in comparison to the rest of them, right? Like it seems like he's kind of worse for wear right now, like kind of like he's he's not looking so hot right now. Like he needs that elixir that they're trying to get at the end of this issue. Like when he took off his mask, it looks like, he's gone through some shit. Like he's obviously seen a lot. He doesn't look so hot right now, that character, but
there's good action in here with that, the princess there, whatever her name is. She's trying to, I guess, flex her muscle and figure out what's going on. And she ends up in a bad spot. And then the actual pigeon there that's in the dreamland or wherever they are, waiting to be turned into the elixir. You know, I guess he's might be realizing something is awry. So it was a lot of big stuff happening once again. And like I said, I think it was a good read.
I'm surprised that the daughter of the god is also pretty like capable, like the whole like in terms of her fighting, like because she
Well,
like
maybe because she had her father's sword. Maybe that sword does something. Who knows?
yeah, because she killed the shit out of a few people when she kind of like made herself known and that
Yeah,
she snuck into this whole operation that this guy's got going. But like there was a really bunch of cool reveals and additions to the story that really moved it forward in a way I did not expect. Like
yeah,
this is I thought this was a really good issue of this series because there's a lot of things that happen in this issue I did not see coming. Like and like the story is going in a direction where I'm not even too sure right now, honestly, where we're headed with this because like the focus is shifted completely away almost other than like one scene in this, like a page or two, to like that kid, the bird kid that got taken
yeah,
from the first issue. And now they're going off and telling stories with all these different characters in other directions while still kind of maintaining the overall kind of like, you know what I mean, story that we've been following since the first issue. Like, I just think he's doing a really good and the art's great. The art's great
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. So I'm enjoying this series a lot. This is actually probably one of the best Remender series I think in the last couple of series that he's done, and I'm a huge fan of his. So I mean that in like the you know what I mean. Like I that's a huge compliment for coming from me. Like I think because the last two series he did Scumbag, I think I talked about on the show the ending of and Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, which was good. But this is I think my favorite one out of the last couple of things that he's done. So I'm yeah. I talked about Holy Roller, I think, last week, which I wasn't a huge fan of the debut
Yeah.
issue. So yeah, this is solid stuff. What'd you give this?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 4 too. You know, it was a good week of comics.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I gotta give this a 4.25, honestly, because I think it's one of the best issues of the series so far. So yeah, good stuff. Venom 28, Chris.
Venom 28. We got that here somewhere. That story's still moving along, but I find myself getting tired of all these symbiotes. You know, it was good when there was just a Venom symbiote. Now there's so many. There's like 3 other symbiotes in here. You know, Black Widow's got her symbiote. I thought that was interesting. You know, it sounds like she might be keeping this for a while. It's fun to see her doing what they're doing. But I don't know. I guess we got to get back to maybe missing Eddie Brock in this here because it's still following Dylan Brock and his storyline. Supposedly Eddie Brock's coming back into his story soon. And here the story is mostly about that Alchemax Corporation and how they poisoned some water, and now the government. And you know, there's this terrorist organization called No One. They're trying to get Alchemax to reveal that they did this, and now the government's inside. They're trying to wipe it out. So it's kind of like different layers of everybody trying to wash their hands or cover everything up. It's an okay story, but I don't know if it's what I signed up for. And that's
Okay.
about it for that, you know.
How'd you give it out of 5 then this one?
Yeah, I give this a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay, sorry, I didn't pull up the art for Venom, but here's the art for Venom very quickly. You like the art, Chris?
Yeah, it's looking good in there. Dylan, you know, doing whatever he does.
I think that's
Nothing.
part of the problem with the Venom stuff over at Marvel right now, though, is that everybody's Venomized. Like everybody's got to be a
Yeah,
Venom
it's
now.
just
It's just like,
there's just too many Venoms, and you know, at one point they're super powerful. Like, you know, how can anybody stop them? Now there's like 3 of them working together. Like they should be unstoppable.
yeah. All right. So next up, we got Poison Ivy number 17. I'll just bring up the art here for you. And here we go.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in this comic. This is one of those. This is a sleeper comic. You know, I should be buying more of the issues. I don't think I bought this issue. Maybe I did. Who knows? They might have thrown it in because I bought previous issues. And in fact, yeah. Oh, yeah. Solomon Grundy shows up in this comic.
Killer Croc.
Yeah, and there's I think the big thing that's going on right now is those spores that she put out there a while ago are turning everybody into sort of like almost like an undead army, and they're all coming to the swamp to get her. It's okay stuff. It's fun read. Not much to say about it, but it's a good comic. I check it out if you like that sort of thing.
What would you give this?
I'll give it a 3.5.
All right, next up, I got Thunderbolts #1, which was one of the bigger surprises of the week for me. I didn't pick this up. I always loved the Thunderbolts as a concept and as a book. I like a lot of the older Thunderbolts series. This is one of those books, as they tend to do nowadays, that I feel like is just Thunderbolts in name only. Like, I don't know what makes this a Thunderbolts team per se. That being said, I read this online. I didn't pick this up, but I was curious because I do like the Thunderbolts. And I think this is a mini series, is like one of those 5-issue mini series, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, as you can see in the cover here, the Red Skull must die. You got Bucky here. I had heard about this team prior to it launching, and I was like, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know about this team, and I don't know what makes it a Thunderbolts book. But nonetheless, like, this is just basically like a spin-off, like Captain America-esque type book as far as I'm concerned. And it contains a lot of the characters from the Captain America book. So if you were a fan of Winter Soldier, if you like fucking what's her name here? Well, at the end of the last Captain America event, which I talked about here, Sharon Carter now has like this weird skull mask get up. I don't know what's going on with the way she looks in this, but she's in it. Like, kind of like I was not a big fan of that last event. I was a big fan of the Captain America title. As you know, I talked about it here. I read the first trade. I really liked it. Then I read more of it, and I didn't like the ending of the series. And then it kind of went into that event. I think, was it Cold War or something like that? I forgot what the fucking event was called, but I did not like that event at all. And Winter Soldier was in it, and so was she. And then I guess after the events of that, now this is kind of continuing kind of where they're at in terms of, like, I mean, their involvement in things. And they're basically now just part of this team that try to take out the Red Skull in this first issue. And this is the same writers that were writing the Captain America series and that event prior to. So that's the thing. As much as I hated the end of that series and that event, I really liked the solo series that they were doing, the Symbol of Truth or whatever, because there was a Cap book, and then there was the Sentinel of Liberty, I think, is the Cap book. I think Symbol of Truth was, or am I mixing them up? One of them was the Sam book. One of them was the Steve Rogers book. And the Steve Rogers one was really fucking good. And then it went into that event, and it fucking shit the bed as far as I'm concerned. Now this is them kind of doing this Thunderbolt miniseries, the same writing team. And I liked this. I thought this was really fucking strong. This was awesome. They go into, like, basically like a Nazi-occupied kind of Germany-esque type of scenario here to take out the Red Skull. Turns out the Red Skull is not the Red Skull that we know. It's somebody else who is now posing as a Red Skull, or that is the current Red Skull. And by the end of this issue, it looks like they take him out. And then what you find out by the end of this issue is not only did they end up taking this guy out, but the actual real Red Skull, Red Skull that, of course, the original Red Skull that we all know from the comics, apparently is still alive somewhere, because they show him at the end of this. And whether, I guess they're going to continue with that storyline of maybe him popping up now in their lives, and who knows, doing a bunch of despicable shit because he's the Red fucking Skull. I don't know, but this is really solid. Great art, fun story, good dialogue. The other people on the team were I forgot his name. This guy, the guy who's like a Russian character, not Red Tornado. That's DC.
Red Guardian.
Thank you. Yes, he was in the movie, the Black Widow movie. Yeah, he's in this. Sharon Carter. And the person that Elaine, the actress that plays Elaine, what's her name? The one that she plays in the Marvel Universe.
Like some Shield person or something.
That's right. She's in this too. But now you find out she gets attacked during this issue. And then there's like a whole rundown saying, like, oh, by the way, I'm no longer this person. 4 years ago, I died, and they put my fucking mind inside of a one of those robots that they all have in the Shield.
Life model decoys or something.
Thank you. Yes, I see. I can't. The life model decoys, LMD robot, and my mind's inside of LMD robot. and then like her face opens up, and there's like this fucking big gun that comes out of it. She kills somebody, and the Winter Soldier's like, I didn't know that, and Sherry Connor's like, yeah, that happened. so like, so yeah, I don't know. I really had a lot of fun with this. This is really good. I like this espionage kind of Captain America, like Cold War type Winter Soldier type stories. So yeah, I'm into all this kind of shit. Like, them against the Russians or whatever, right? Like this is always some good themes, like old World War II type storylines from Captain America. Like I like that kind of stuff. So I thought this really worked. I think this is interesting. It's an interesting team. It's not the Thunderbolts, but it's a good book, and I might actually read the rest of this online, honestly now. And I give this a 4 out of 5. I thought this was a surprise. I really enjoyed it. So I might pick up the trade if I really continue to like this miniseries. Next up, you got Daredevil number 4, Chris.
Yep. Daredevil 4. Why did they freaking have freaking JR do the freaking cover?
He's a big Daredevil artist.
Yeah.
He has been in the past.
Yeah, well, great.
30 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know. It's okay, I guess. This Daredevil, I've read it through. I might stick with this, for maybe 6 issues, see where it goes. You got whatever his name, Bullseye coming back, so that's good. But I'm still not buying into this Matt Murdock stuff. They gotta end this priest business. And I know what these demons, like what, possessing Ben Urich or something. Like, come on, what is that? I don't know. What do you think? I thought it's not hitting the mark for me, that's for sure.
No, I might be out on this. I think I might drop it. It's really riding the fucking line right now. Like and it has been since the series has started. Yeah. But then there's some. Here's the thing, and I think we talked about this every fucking issue. So if anybody's watching our show out there, you might be like, "Oh, they're gonna say the same shit again here." But yeah, we have to, because we talk about this issue by issue, and my feelings have not changed. There's some things I like in this book, but then there's other fucking things I completely do not like. I want to disown altogether. Like you said, the priest stuff not working for me. But then they have the Bullseye stuff in this issue, which was interesting. But then by the end, this guy's like attacking demons that are inside of people with crucifixes. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. I was like, what is this? Like, the Ben Urich stuff was interesting somewhat. But then, like you said, you found out that he's a demon possessing him. I'm always down for some Bullseye fighting, like the whole thing about the Kingpin's son. Like, I don't mind all that stuff. Like, that kind of feels familiar and in a Daredevil book to me. But then you got this other shit going on, and it's just like what he's using it with, like religion and like his faith. All that has always had something to do in the Daredevil books.
They're leaning into way too much here.
Yeah, but then again in this issue, I mean, we laughed about it last issue because he's in the midst of a huge fight. Then he gets a call about leaving these kids at the orphanage alone. Again, they had to cram like 2 pages in this where he goes and checks in on a girl that's from the orphanage. Like, oh yeah, you need to. She's like, oh, I'm doing badly in school or something. He's like, are you gonna kick me out? He's like, I'm not giving up on you yet. I know that's what you expect, but you go back in there and start studying. I gotta go. And like, you know what I mean? You don't have time for this, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then, like, in typical Daredevil fashion, I know this is all going to come down crashing on his head at some point. He's not going to be able to do all this shit. But like you said, how long is that going to take? If that's like if that's his new status quo, I'm out. Like, I can't deal with all this stuff that's going on in this book.
Maybe that's the writer talking to the fans once again. Don't give up on this just yet.
It's like, we've said about many books, like 50% of it I'm digging, the other 50% I'm not, and I just can't. I think like I just can't stick with it whole, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't even think it's fair. Like, there's 30% I'm digging in this and 70% I'm not.
I think that's more accurate. Just like, I just meant there's some things I'm liking about it that I would stick with it, but I just I want to read a Daredevil book, but I just think this is not a good run so far. It's very, very mixed feelings on this one, unfortunately. Yeah. What'd you give this out of 5?
Just looking at that cover, that's 3.25 all over.
Same. All right. Next up, Invincible Iron Man number 13, Chris.
Okay, now we're getting some business here.
This is a great issue.
Yeah. And I got the free. There it is. Got my copy there. Yeah, fuck, you can't go wrong with this one. So many big things happen. Well, not maybe big things, but good things happening. You got the Skrulls showing up. You got freaking Star Fox showing up. You got Star Fox trying to hit on Emma Fox in there, or Emma Frost. And I don't know, they go to Game World and they think they're gonna pull off some big scam, and they show up in there and freaking the scam's already like going down. And you think there's this Mysterium, like you think trying to get a box of it. You go in there, it's like a fucking warehouse full of this Mysterium that they gotta move. And then got stuff with Riri Williams going on with her Mandarin rings. And then I don't know, some dinosaur shows up in space that's like related to these Mandarin rings that are getting it. And then stuff with Tony Stark and Emma Frost, going skating because the Skrulls were doing a better job of being them than they were. That's just all good stuff. All good stuff.
Agreed. I think, yeah, like a lot of fun. Super fun. That dragon thing at the end came out of nowhere. I did like the space adventure stuff. I like seeing Star Fox because it's been a long time since I've seen him. It's just a fun series, and it goes places I don't expect any other book to go. There was funny jokes in this, and I thought the dialogue, as always, was top notch. I think Jerry Duggan is just knocking out of the park. We've sung this book's praises throughout the whole year. And I'm not stopping anytime soon because this is still really fucking good. It's really fucking good, this book. And I think that for everybody that I heard that maybe had mixed feelings on this book at the start, if you've been enjoying the X-Men stuff and you like Tony Stark as a character, like this is well worth checking out this title. Come back and check it out because it is one of the best books I think Marvel's putting out right now. It really is. And like, I'm not a huge Iron Man fan. Like, I've read some good runs of Iron Man. Don't get me wrong. I like him as a character, but it's just, I feel like it's really hard to kind of write Tony Stark. Like, honestly, like, I think there's a lot of just like passable, like mediocre, I think, Iron Man comics out there, but it takes a lot, I feel like, to make him a much more interesting character on paper than he is even in the films, right? Because a lot of people, the film characters, Tony Stark is excellent, right? And then I think if you read majority of Iron Man comics, you're gonna be like, oh, this isn't as fun as fucking Robert Downey Jr. It's true though, it is. But this he's really fucking got a good voice for him, and the fact that he's connected this to the X-Men goings on and is excellent as well. So I think it's good stuff. So what'd you give this?
Yeah, 4.25, easy.
Same. Yeah. All right. Next up, Fantastic Four 14, Chris.
Well, I wasn't planning on buying this issue, but I guess since I bought the last few, they threw it in, which I'm not upset about. Like if I didn't have this comic, I wouldn't have been too bad. I was planning on reading it anyways. But this Fantastic Four might be growing on me for whatever reason. I don't know. I thought I really liked this issue. I remember, when the solicitation came out for this one or whatever. Okay, the Baxter Building's coming back, and I thought that'd be the whole gist of this issue. And it wasn't. There was some like AI program or something going on, and whatever, the Fantastic Four beat this guy up and they destroy his AI and whatever. However, that story, I thought that was interesting enough. And then, the big reveal at the end, they're waiting for the Baxter Building to come back after he zapped it out of existence or put in the pocket dimension. And, they had the big countdown going on. It's like 3, 2, 1, spoiler alert. Nothing happens. I thought that was just the best way to top off this comic. It was a decent story, like a one-off story that's not involved in anything. If that was the only thing that happened in the story, it would have been just okay. But now that it's tied into sort of the greater story that's going on, and then that story has a good whatever twist to it, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I liked it. Like you said, I was not expecting that to happen, but the story itself was fine. Yeah, I do like the idea of somebody like basically showing off something that he came up with that like is essentially like an algorithm to basically figure out like
future or something.
Yeah, and like I like how at one point he was kind of gloating to Reed, like, you're just upset because you didn't come up with this before I did, right? Like I thought that was really good because like Reed was like really impressed. He's like, how the fuck did this guy come up with this, right? And then like when he explained it to him, he's like, "Oh, that's genius," and you could tell, like, and then the guy's like, "Yeah, you're just jealous or whatever." And then I liked Reed's whole way of fucking like just fucking up his computers and like erasing everything. Like
Yeah.
essentially, like he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna take a look at. Oops, like he's like basically just erasing all of his data, and just like, oh, sorry, like, like
Well, I
I
think
just
there was
like,
one throwaway line too that there's whatever AI had going on that saved the Marvel universe from the pandemic. Because really, there was no pandemic in the Marvel universe. Like, you don't
yes,
see issues where everybody has to wear masks or anything.
yes, yes,
And he goes,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
well, I stopped the pandemic. You can say
Which
thank you about that.
Which thank fucking God for that, because like I did not want to read comics about that at that time. No, it's true. Like I remember I saw some like comics that came out, like some collections, like a paperback that some publisher brought out at the time that was talking about like basically depicting like life as we know it during the pandemic, basically
Yeah.
comics during COVID. It was called like comics for COVID or during COVID or something like that. It was like an independent type book that came out. And I remember seeing it at the comic shop. I was like, fuck that. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
like this is a reality. I gotta read about this shit now in my comics. No, thank you. Right. So like I'm happy for that. Like, you know what I mean? And then I feel like some shows that we watched during that period of time that like dealt with that situation, they're like, oh, this is real time and cutting edge, guys. Let's talk about this. Those things aren't gonna age well. No one wants to go back and rewatch that on a television show, right? Like
Well, there
they're
was no television shows where they always wear the clear masks to show that,
oh
oh, well, this is COVID, but you still got to see our face because we're actors. This is our
yeah.
moneymaker. But yeah,
I remember that the waitresses at Joey's were doing that because they're all really good looking. I remember I saw them there at time and they were rocking those masks. I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay. I guess I understand. You're good
So,
looking. All
I
right.
don't. We're getting off topic here.
No, that was hilarious. Like, well, that's tip money for them, Chris. What'd you give this
Yeah,
book?
I'll give it a 4. I like this Fantastic Four.
Oh,
Yeah,
3.75 for me.
this is growing on me. I might keep it up.
Avengers 8.
Yeah, I dropped Avengers. I'm glad I did. But this was a better story than most. At least it wasn't the sort of paint by numbers where okay, we'll just put one page on, one guy, one page on, they spent 5 pages on each individual Avenger. They had what was it, Scarlet Witch and Vision kind of trying to hold down the battle while I guess those other guys are sleeping against Nightmare. And I don't know about how they resolved that Nightmare situation. He goes, "Oh, I just want respect." He goes, "Oh," and then Thor is like, "Oh, yeah, you take what you want. We got to get back to battle." He goes, "Okay, yeah, you just say I beat you." There's got to be some sort of fallout from that. And then they do come back, and I guess they give this Meridian team a little run for their money. That's okay stuff, but I'm not missing it really. There's that one big page with I guess what's her name, Captain Marvel is like she's calling out, "Oh yeah, this is our house." I know, and she just looks funny in that picture there, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah,
Like you
yeah, that
said,
one.
yeah, like you said, I don't regret dropping it. It's okay. I think this is maybe a bit better than previous issues, but I don't think it to the point where like I'm gonna start picking it up again. It was all right. But I do like how he connected Nightmare to this story because I forgot that Jim McKay also introduced them. I think in his Doctor Strange series, and then I know that Jerry Duggan involved him in the X-Men. I think that's what he was referencing because for whatever reason we've been seeing him pop up. I think in like other a lot of books, I guess over the last year or two, like as the out of left field bad guy. And I think that's what he was kind of referencing in this issue was just like he's been fucking taken out quite easily lately. And yeah, I guess that's why he's kind of down on himself in this. He's just like, show me some respect because like I want to, I've been getting battered around the Marvel universe. And listen, I need the basically people to know I beat the Avengers. That's
You get a W.
yeah, exactly. No, I actually, to your point, I actually did like that moment, and I actually understood where he was coming from with that because I forgot. Like I think they referenced like it was like at one of those editors notes, like see whatever. Like I forgot that he was in other stuff more recently where he did get kind of taken out, like like nothing, right? So I kind of appreciated the fact that he's like, come on, guys, just give me a win here. I'm Nightmare. Come on, be scared of me. Thor's like, whatever, man. Like we got,
Yeah.
our teammates are in trouble. Like, fuck. Okay, whatever. You win. He's like, all right. What'd you give this?
Yeah, 3.5.
I got to give it a 3.5 because of the nightmare stuff. I did enjoy that. All right, next up we got Shazam number 6. And we'll just bring that up here. Still reading this online, both of us. What'd you think?
You guys gave this a read online. I think the last issue there with Billy's friend there was going to step up to be the Shazam god, and I don't know, there's a whole bunch of freaking with the gods there all freaking chatting back and forth going on, and I don't know, there's just too much going on in this issue that I don't understand. But, it was a decent read, and did Shazam become Shazam at the end again? I don't even remember. It didn't leave a great impression on me, let's say.
He did, and then I guess one of the gods that he has, which I can't remember which one it is, but the one that basically
Solomon, the wisdom one, right? He's
wisdom. Yes, exactly. He gives him knowledge. Essentially, he makes him. But the thing that might backfire now is in order to take out the other gods that are kind of against him right now, even though they were all kind of teamed up against him. He gave him all of his knowledge, which is like something apparently that he's never done. So whether or not we're going to be dealing with like a super smart Shazam in the next issue and kind of like it's going to backfire on him, I guess we'll see. But that was the one thing of note that I took away from this issue is, yeah, he kind of came out on top at the, won the end of the day here in this issue. But Solomon had said that he had given him, like, he had never given him all of his knowledge like that. And now it seems like he's going to be much smarter than ever before moving forward, if that were to stick, right? So I guess we'll see. Like, in order to basically take out the rest of the gods here at the end, that's kind of what he had to do, right? So, but Black Adam shows up at the end, I guess, and that's we haven't seen him in this series yet, but of course, a staple to Captain Marvel. Black Adam, of course, is is number one bad guy there. So we'll see what happens there. What'd you give this?
Yeah, I give it a 3.5.
Yeah, same. It's still okay, but it's not like, yeah. X-Men 29, Chris.
Oof, there we go. Now we're talking business. Dr. Doom.
Which I didn't get my issue in. They had to reorder it for some fucking reason. But yeah, I got it.
Yeah, good stuff going on here. A lot of new characters introduced. And I think there's, freaking whatever, Dr. Doom, I don't know what he's wearing. That Cerebro helmet that he's made on his own. I thought that looked freaking super cool. Yeah. And it's a throwback, or it's a callback, I guess, to when Professor X was going to reveal to the world, I guess, what was going on in Krakoa. And then, and Dr. Doom puts on that helmet. Hey, freaking slow your roll here. And they're having a little a tet, let's say. And, it's good stuff there. A bit of a reveal there with Dr. Doom almost acting as Charles Xavier, kind of recruiting his mutants, and just the stuff, the battle between the other two mutant groups, the X-Men, I guess, against Doom's X-Men. That was good stuff. And just the way some of the pages were put out there. I think there's the one thing where, like, after the battle has been won and lost, Doom's like, and before you go, you must dine with me, and then freaking the X-Men are they're just ready to eat this food. I guess they haven't had some good food for a long time. And like, that was just a switch in tone that I just loved. And
great stuff.
and really those mutants are like, hey, push comes to shove, I think we can help you out, and it's good to see that, that Dr. Doom didn't fall for under Orchis' spell. He's not working with them. He's like, hey, I don't like the mutants. I don't like you either. I'm for me, and that's it.
So a couple of things that I want to mention. One, Doom, of course, always Doom. It's just like, I love Dr. Doom. So the fact that he showed up in this, I was very much pleased with that. Two, this is going to be the picture of the episode, that fucking panel where they basically are chatting with him during the dinner, and he just sits back and like drinks the fucking the wine from the goblet. It's just excellent. One of the best panels of the week, because like, he basically is just like composing himself, and then he basically simply explains to them that, like, how smart he fucking is, because he's like, as you guys are dealing with all this Krakoa fallout, My mutants have been safe because I do not allow people in or out of my state. So like the fact that like he's a dictator, like the fact that he governs his Latveria the way he does actually protects his people as a result of not being involved. He's like, that's why Orcus isn't here, right? Like, it just so fucking such a smart fucking idea that he illustrated in this, like Jerry Duggan, the writer.
Yeah, well, the way he kind of he shits on Professor X, goes, I knew this was going to fail right from the beginning. You know, Professor X is strong enough to do what needs to be done.
Just like I like that he leaned into actually making him look like the smart person in this situation, and like that he was 5 steps ahead of them in the sense that like he just kind of sat back and seen all this go to like, you know, play out. And kind of where they were at the end of this is like the one mutant after he left, like he kind of bid them adieu, and she's like, hey, Liz,
by morning be gone.
Yeah. the one with like the plant arms and shit, she was just like, listen, I'll help you guys out if you want, but you gotta like basically tell him that you need his help essentially, or else we're not gonna do anything for you, right? So like, because they know that if Orcus takes them out, they will come for them next. They know that, but they're basically like, until that happens, we're neutral in this whole situation. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's I just love it. I love it as like a political kind of thing too. Like it's so fucking smart. And third, like I like that they lost. Like Wolverine's sitting there, he feeds them a meal after they get their ass handed to them by these mutants that are like ancient fucking mutants. And Wolverine's like, well, yeah, well, we got creamed here, so we might as well fucking like he's like,
he's like, oh, regenerating takes a lot of energy. He's like chopping on the leg or something.
Just so good, so fucking good. Yeah, this is again, yeah, great series. And like I just love that when he does not disappoint whenever Doctor Doom, like if Doctor Doom shows up, you better fucking write a good Doctor Doom scene with it, or else it's a waste. It's a fucking waste. Don't bring him into any comic that you're not going to fucking sell us on this character, how awesome he is. This is excellent. This is a great Doctor Doom in this issue. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
What'd you give this?
I'm going to give it a 4.5, I think.
Yeah. After fucking hyping it up like that, yeah, I have to too as well. 4.5. Even honestly verging on 4.75. Like, it was a really fucking good issue this week. Great week. All right. Yeah. And finally, Amazing Spider-Man number 39. We're in the midst of Gang War.
My favorite cover. The 2 covers this week. I'm so lucky. Where that stupid
JR.
Yeah, that's freaking. What's that? What's with She-Hulk there? What's she wrapping around her arm?
Chain.
Yeah, chain. Like she needs a chain on her arm. She's freaking She-Hulk. The chain will break whatever she's punching. But otherwise, I'm not minding this gang war story. I think it's
this is fun, Chris. Good. I'm loving this. I'm not gonna lie. You're gonna give me Ringmaster versus Crime Master. First page in, like first 2 pages, he's like, Ringmaster. He's like, I'm gonna take you down, Crime Master. The JR couldn't even ruin this for me, man. I had a lot of fun, but go ahead. I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, like I say, it's not bad, and I'll give it that. It's, you know, the team there, you know, I like some of the lines there with the Hulk or whatever, She-Hulk, we need a tank, and like, you know, when they're kind of just sitting up top watching what's going on and they're ready to jump in and strike, and they all do their fight and everybody, I guess, separates and goes on their own way. And the stuff, but She-Hulk and Spider-Man together, they had some good fighting going on there. Whenever they're fighting, you know, and Spider-Man's doing his lines and she's like, are you standing behind me? And he's like, no, I'm not behind you. And he's clearly freaking using She-Hulk as a shield. I thought that was just great stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. This is exactly kind of like what I wanted from this event, and it's delivering. Like it's D-list type villains facing off each other for, like, you know, in gang-like scenarios for small pieces of New York, and you know, I like this whole thing going on. Well, not small. I mean, it's boroughs and shit that they're fighting for. So yeah, the large pieces of New York. And I love that everything's kind of gone off the rails. I love fucking Tombstone being in this, and then you got what's his name here? The whole Robbie Robertson
Yeah,
stuff.
Robbie and Tombstone.
And,
A little throwback to some of their previous encounters.
and I like even how the Beetle there stepped up. Fucking Shotgun, of course. Who could forget him from back? JRJR created this character back in the Punisher days, right? I mean, this.
Oh, that's the shotgun where his arms turn into shotguns or something.
No, I think that's the guy from Captain America that you're
Or that's
thinking
like
of.
Nuke or something like that.
Yeah. That's But this is a character that showed up back in I think Punisher
Oh yeah,
Warzone
the shotgun you're talking about.
and Daredevil back in the day too, which JR drew both those series. This is I think a character he created or created with another writer. So seeing him show up is funny. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really liking this. This is a lot of fun. I honestly, this is really good. And then you got, I like all the players involved. Like, I like that they're not really spending too much time on any given situation. Like, he's moving it at a fast clip. I think he's addressing this, honestly, this event the way you should in terms of like an event, like fun, bombastic moments, funny things going on. Like, he knows how to write a Spider-Man event. Like, honestly, Dark Web, we thought the same thing going into it, Chris. I'm like, I don't know about this. And then I was like, yeah, lean into how fucking ridiculous this shit is. Just go all the way with it, because like some of this stuff is like wacky, but it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. She-Hulk, yeah, I like her that she's here. And then Tombstone, basically, he's like basically at the end here, they got to team up again, because if you recall, there was that whole fake heist thing that they pulled off before, remember? And Spider-Man got bamboozled at the end, and he took out another gang because he tried to give him information, and as a result, he kind of took away his competitors. He's like, "Oh, thanks a lot for that, Spider." Remember that? He's like, "Hey, what the fuck?" Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, looks like we got to team up again." She-Hulk's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, he's like, "Never mind." Yeah, it's good. So, what'd you give this?
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.75.
4.5.
Oh, easy, man. Relax. Calm down.
So much fun. All right, Chris, what are you reading next week?
Okay, I got to pull this up on the old whatever tablet. Sorry here.
No worries. But yeah, that's going to do it for what we want to talk about this week, guys. Let's talk about what we're going to pick up next week.
Yeah, next week I'll probably read Captain America 4. I might be reading Daredevil, Gang War 1 online. I think Getting Dark, X-Men 5. I'm not looking forward to that too much. I think that's sort of run its course. Let's see. Probably read Luke Cage. Probably read the Marvel Zombies. I might have to read Marvel or Miles Morales there if that's doing with the Gang War. Punisher 2 I'm buying. And let's see. We got Thor, White Widow, and I'll probably read X-Men Red. That's from Marvel. Let's see what DC's got for me. It's where am I here? Oop, wrong way. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Yeah, I'm probably getting Action Comics 1060. Definitely gonna read the Batman Santa Claus Silent Night 2.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, maybe Outsiders too. See what's going on there. I don't know if I'll be reading any more of that Beast Wars stuff. Maybe I will. It's a slow week for DC, so that stuff comes out on the Tuesday. So usually I get a bit of time to read it. So I might read a couple of those ones. And I don't know. I guess you can let me know what's going on in Image next week. Is there anything big coming out from Image?
Yeah, I got the one I'm picking up is Phantom Road number 7.
Yeah, I'm probably getting Scorch 24.
Okay. I got
this cover.
But next week I'm picking up Batman Gargoyle of Gotham number 2, Batman Santa Claus Silent Night number 2, Captain America 4, Phantom Road number 7, Punisher number 2. And yeah, that's all I'm picking up physically, in physical issues, just the 5 of them. Not much, not a big week for me for issues I'm picking up. But some of the things you mentioned, I'll probably be reading online next week. Let me just bring it up here. Like you said, couple of those books I'm definitely going to be checking out. I might check out the next issue of Outsiders from DC. Piqued my interest a little bit, despite the flagrant ripping off that they were doing a Planetary. You got Action Comics comes out next week. Is that you? You reading that?
Yeah, probably I don't know if I ordered, but I don't know. They throw it in my box every once in a while.
Batman and Robin, I'm off of. I'm not reading any more of that. No, not too much else from DC. It might be a very DC light week. Yeah, I'll definitely check out Outsiders then. Titans Beast World #2. Yeah, that's the main title. I'll read that. I'm not gonna read any of these fucking tie-ins though, but I'll read the main title. Yes. Wesley Dodds Sandman #3. I'll read that. Yeah, that's about it from DC. Image. Let's see what we got here. I think Phantom Road might be it. You're gonna read Scorch. Oh, does this come out? No, there's a reprints. Yeah, so that's it for Image. Short week for Image for me too. And Marvel. Yeah, I might check out Daredevil Gang War. I have been enjoying Gang War, so I might check that out. Immortal Thor, which I guess I didn't pre-order because I dropped it at one point, so I'm gonna have to scoop that up from somewhere. Because I dropped it and now I'm reading it again, so I gotta pick it back up. Yeah, that might. What's that?
The Thor core.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I think that's about it though. Yeah, so not a huge week, but yeah, this was a good week of comics. I gotta say though, like you said, this is a big week of comics, and it was a pretty good week of comics this week that we just talked about. So let's talk about what our favorite one was amongst all those. Chris, go ahead.
All right. Let's see here. I gotta go with X-Men.
Yeah, after talking about it, like I said, I didn't get my issue because they had to reorder it. It didn't come in. I got to go with X-Men as well. So I can't hold it up. But yes, Chris, X-Men is what, but again, I think Birds of Prey was battling for that top spot for me this week. Transformers was close, but no cigar on that one. I think, and honestly, Spider-Man is in the mix too for me because I had a hell of a. But at the end of the day, I gave it a high rating, as much as a high rating as I did those other two books. But I couldn't give it to that. But I think just talking about like how what a great scene that whole Doom scene was, and the explanation of all that. I got to give it to that. In terms of like actually unfolding all that and talking about it here today, there's nothing else I can give it above X-Men, because like not only am I a huge Doom fan, this has been a great book, and the setup of that whole scene and the whole explanation of Krakoa, Latveria, and everything else, the fact that they lost, which I thought was really
it's not like Doom crosses the path with X-Men every day either, you know.
No, yeah. So excellent stuff, X-Men, yeah, great stuff. Oh, Iron Man was also in the mix for me this week. Iron Man was definitely in the running. I could have easily given it to Iron Man on like any given week, honestly. So yeah, good stuff. Good week. Like I said, usually there's maybe one or two we're kind of trying to figure it out over. Sometimes there's a clear winner. This is like 4 or 5.
Local Man came out this week. There'd be no chance he'd be in the top.
Right, fair. But yeah, 4 or 5 this week that we're kind of battling it out for top spot for as far as I'm concerned. So good stuff. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week. We will catch you back here next week, as always, with another great week of comics, hopefully. And stay tuned. Like I said, a couple of weeks more to go, and our year-end award show here for Comic Shop Talk. Always a great time to do one of those. So, Chris, I'll talk to you later, man. Later.
All right, cheers.